Hello, and welcome to the show, everybody. Presenting Roundin the Bases with another edition of Roundin the Bases presented by Prime Sports World. Here, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and follow us on Twitter. And in case you missed this live feed of this podcast, you can catch us on all platforms where podcasts can be heard. That's Apple Podcasts, Samsung Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, ladies and gentlemen. But a lot to get into here. Rounding the Bases, our MLB content show, ladies and gentlemen. There has been a little bit of a shakeup here in our power rankings, definitely in our MVP rankings as teams start to get settled into the second month of the season. I know I touched on it last time that we were here a couple weeks ago, that the Dodgers, they've risen up tremendously in the rankings. They were in kind of that bottom half of the top 15. They've risen up into the top 3, top 5. In most rankings, especially in the Prime Sports World MLB Power rankings, they have just been, hitting the ball tremendously. They've been pitching well, playing great defense, but they've just been playing well as a cohesive unit. The Tampa Bay Rays, hot start to start the season, kind of cooled down a little bit, but they're still the number one team here in the majors. I'll tell you a little something, man. Like the Yankees, they were in the bottom half of the top 10, top 15. They've risen up in the rankings a little bit here. They've been playing good baseball. We just saw them yesterday. A sneaky good team, the Orioles. I mean, they were in the, they were that sneaky team, like along with the Diamondbacks, like young team. Maybe we didn't think that they were going to be, this good, this fast. We thought that they were going to probably be a year away. But the Orioles have really skyrocketed into the power rankings as well. There's been a lot of movement here now that we start that second month of the season. And also, I talked about my Chicago Cubs. They've cooled off they have been playing some really bad baseball. I know they won 4-2 yesterday, but they have been playing bad baseball of late. So they've gone down in rankings, and the Cardinals have actually dug themselves out of a hole. We said it earlier, like, the Cardinals were not that good to start the season. They were really cold to start the season. They've actually risen up and dug themselves out of that hole and risen up into the power rankings so far. Some surprising teams. The Rangers have surprised me so far within the first 2 months. The Mets, I kind of knew the Mets were going to be pretty good this year. They've kind of stuck in the top 10 so far this year. The team that's really surprising me that's at the bottom is the White Sox. I thought the White Sox would build on. I thought changing a new manager would kind of refresh that club. It's still early in the season. They can catch fire. But they're still kind of in that 20 range, that 25 to 20 range in terms of the power rankings. So the White Sox are definitely a team to watch out for, to see if they can catch fire here. As we hit the third month of the season, as we're exiting the second month of the season. But yeah, no, it's been a tumultuous. I mean, the other day, the Blue Jays scored 20 runs. I mean, the difference between this year and like previous seasons, obviously growing up watching baseball is a very methodical game, very slow. Now we're starting to see the effects of the game being sped up, right? We had a 20 to something game. I think the Blue Jays won 20 to nothing, if I'm not mistaken. Godly, no, I think it was like 20-1 or 20-2, something like that. The Blue Jays scored 20 runs. You mean to tell me that back in the day that a team would have scored 20 runs if the game wasn't sped up for the batter or the pitcher? Like the pitcher is being forced to has the pitch clock, and then also the batter, is racing against the clock. But also with the pitch clock and everything like that, I think pitchers don't have enough time to kind of really get into at bats and kind of get into sequences. Now a lot of guys think that it's benefits the pitcher, but in that game against the Rays, I just think George Springer had a hell of a game. I think he had 2 home runs that game. Vlad Guerrero Jr. has been like tremendous this year. I mean, he was good in April, batting .303, and then he followed up with like a 290 something batting average in the month of May. It's batting 297 on the season. But yeah, the Blue Jays are a World Series contender. The Mets are the Yankees are always gonna be in there as well. And yeah, I just think that the Braves, Ronald Acuna. I know we mentioned it 2 weeks ago. He was hurt, and he came back. He's still my number one NL MVP guy so far this year. But that could change as well. But there's just been some movement here, to say the least. But let's get into the power rankings, ladies and gentlemen, and let's not waste any more time, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, number one, I mentioned it, the Tampa Bay Rays. They're still the number one team in baseball. They have the most wins in baseball. They're 36-15. They've been the number one team in baseball, ever since they started the season. They're 21-4 at home. They've come back down to earth just a little bit. But they're still pretty dang good so far this year. Wander Franco started off as one of my MVP candidates. So did Randy Arozarena, kind of catching that momentum from the World Baseball Classic. But another guy you got to watch out for them is Yandy Diaz, who's having probably the best start to his career so far this season. At number two, I got the LA Dodgers. Like I said, man, they have been on a tear in the last month and a half since they started kind of the season out slow a little bit. Yeah, the Dodgers, they've just risen up from the ashes like the Phoenix. They're 31-20. They have the second best record in baseball right now. And right now, I mean, their last 10, they're 5-5, but they're 17-7 at home, which is the second best record at home, next to the Tampa Bay Rays. At number three, I got the At number three, I got the Atlanta Braves. They're pretty much the third. They've been consistent. Number two, number three, they've been right behind the Tampa Bay Rays. They got the MVP candidate and Ronald Acuna Jr., who's pretty much the front runner. He's come back healthy. Good pitching, good defense. Last time I had Sean Murphy as one of the MVP candidates. He's kind of come back down to earth a little bit. Freddie Freeman has kind of caught fire. We knew he would here for the Atlanta Braves. So Atlanta Braves at number three. At number four, the Baltimore Orioles. I mean, this is a team. I thought that they might be a couple years away and maybe a year away, but they just continue to impress me. The Baltimore Orioles. I mean, they were down yesterday in the game against the Yankees, and they came back and won that game. I forget what the score was. Here, I'll pull it up right now and look at the score from yesterday. But yeah, they were down in that game, and they came back like fire. They caught fire in that game. They won the game 9-6. I think they were down. They were down six. It was like 6-1, if I'm not mistaken. The Yankees were hitting. Gleyber Torres hit 2 home runs in that game, and then they had an 8-run seventh inning. That's how potent this offense can be for the Baltimore Orioles. So yeah, this is a team. This is a team that has been really good. They're one of the best teams in run differential, plus 43 and run differentiation. So this is a good team. They just keep winning baseball games. Number four, I got the Texas Rangers, 31-18. These guys are pretty damn good. I mean, Josh Jung's been playing really good. Corey Seager, he's driven in 10 runs in the last 7 games. The Texas Rangers have been really good this year. They're my number 4 team. 5. God, let me pull up my rankings. At number 4, I had the Orioles. Number 5, I had the Rangers. At number 6, I got the Yankees. Like I said, the Yankees have been playing really well. Aaron Judge has caught fire of lately. Nestor Cortez, we just saw him play yesterday. He's been having great command of his fastball so far this year. Once that team gets fully healthy and the bats start to wake up, they're a very dangerous team. They're in the bottom 15 when I started the season, but now they're in the top 10 and close, like right on the outside, looking in the top 5. At number 7, I got the Houston Astros. We already know, man. The Houston Astros, defending world champs. They have been playing really good. They got an MVP candidate in themselves in Yordan Alvarez. They're just getting Jose Altuve back. I expect this team to kind of catapult itself right back into the top 5 at some point this season. On my last rankings, the Astros were number 5, so they've moved down a bit. Here they've only moved down 1 slot, but getting Jose Altuve should be big for them coming up here for the rest of the season. Hopefully he's healthy for the rest of the season. At number 8, we have the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, they have been just incredible. I mean, Matt Chapman had a hot start, hot April, and even the beginning of May, but he's kind of come back down to earth a little bit. I think he was batting 343 or something like that. But Bo Bichetti's been still consistent so far this year for the Blue Jays. My thing about the Blue Jays is if they can get healthier in the bullpen, especially on the mound, getting Ryu back after All-Star break should be big for them. Towards the middle of the season, but he's in the final year of his 4-year, $80 million contract. So, coming back from Tommy John's get, big, but they can use a big arm in their bullpen. I expect them to make a trade at the trade deadline to get some arms in that starting rotation, but they're 1-6 against the Yankees and the Orioles so far in the past week. So not that great for the Blue Jays. They were in my rankings last time I had rankings. The Blue Jays were number 4, so they've slipped down a little bit here within the last month or so, within the last couple of weeks or so. But I expect them to continue their strong play. They're at number 8. Number 9, the Arizona Diamondbacks, man. Like I said, man, that this is a team that's been. I thought that they were a year away from being good, but the Arizona Diamondbacks have, pretty much they've really surprised me, man. They started off red hot in May, started off hot in April, come back down to earth a little bit, but then they've won 9 of their last 12 games. So they're right there, 2 games out from first place amongst the Dodgers. So Andrew Chafin, Miguel Castro, Scott McDowell, man. I mean, they have been excellent for the pitching staff there. They got the 6th highest ERA. They have one of the best ERAs in terms of their bullpen. So the Arizona Diamondbacks are on a team on the rise here. At number 10, you got the Milwaukee Brewers, man. The Brew Crew been playing really good baseball of late. Like the Brew Crew to be in the top 10. I will say this, with the Cardinals kind of coming in hot a little bit. The Brewers have a really tough schedule coming up. I know the Pittsburgh Pirates have been really good, so far this season. So expect the Brewers to kind of continue to pace, kind of be at number 1 in this division, but I'm gonna keep a close eye on them. But so far, they make my top 10 here at the Prime Sports World Power Rankings, and kind of go through this a little faster here. At number 11, we got the Boston Red Sox. At number 12, we got the Minnesota Twins. At number 13, the New York Mets. This is a team that probably should be in the top 10 on somebody's list. But the Mets, they are led by MVP candidate Pete Alonso. He's leading the league in RBIs and home runs, the NL and RBIs and home runs. This is a team, once they start, getting into stride, this is a World Series contender here, the New York Mets. So I expect the Mets to continue their strong play here as the season goes along. Number 14, the Angels. Shohei Ohtani has emerged as probably the front runner for the AL MVP. He's been flat out amazing so far, especially on the mound and batting. And then Mike Trout has come on strong, especially in the month of May. So Los Angeles Angels have moved up a little bit. And let me see where I had them in my old rankings here. I had the Angels. They were at 17, so they moved up 3 slots here in my power rankings. At number 15, I got the Mariners. They kind of stayed the same a little bit. They moved up about 4 slots. They were 19th on my list the last time. At number 16, I got these the San Diego Padres. This team's kind of been disappointing a little bit this year. Not gonna lie. I mean, I know Juan Soto's been playing well of late. But this team, has not. They've been underperforming, so far throughout this lineup. I mean, 9 losses in their 11 games. I mean, they have the lowest on-base percentage in the major leagues. Aaron Nola, Luis Campusano, Brett Sullivan, all have been terrible coming into this past road trip. So, these guys have to step it up a little bit. I do think that this is another player in the trade deadline, the San Diego Padres, to kind of shake up that lineup a little bit. But they have all the pieces there. Manny Machado, Juan Soto. So, the Padres have talent there. They just need to, Fernando Tatis, they just need to, kind of shake things up a little bit, I think, when it comes down to it for them to be, to remain in a player in NL West. And then at number 17, I got the Philadelphia Phillies. Number 18 is the St. Louis Cardinals. I mentioned the Cardinals, man. They have been, hot of lately, man. I mean, they have been winning a lot of games. I mean, they started off the season like on the bottom half of my power rankings. They've risen up, like I said, like a phoenix in the ashes. They were 25 the last time I had power rankings. Right now, they are sitting at number 18. So they've risen up 7 slots considerably. Been playing really well, playing really good baseball. St. Louis Cardinals, I think they're going to continue this strong play. And I think they'll be able to, contend for that NL Central race. At number 19, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Kind of been saying that all season they've been playing really well so far this year. Then kind of go through this a little faster. Then number 20, the San Francisco Giants. Number 21, the Marlins. never really expecting the Marlins to do much. Luis Arias is kind of faded a little bit here, but he's still one of the best. He's still killing it. He's one of the best contact hitters in baseball. But the Marlins, still have a lot of holes in their lineup. They're 500 right now. They can hit. They can hit a outside of Luis Arias are kind of just like average, and below average. So they can hit their stride here somehow, some way. But the Marlins are, in the bottom third in majors in ERA. They're dead last in runs per game on offense. So, they're hopefully their pitching can come around, and sometimes, they can generate some outfits outside of Luis Arias. But the Marlins have not, they've been a pretty average team, to say the least. At number 22, my Chicago Cubs. They are so poor in the clutch. I mean, the worst offense, third worst pitching in the clutch. I think that they should be able to bounce back. This is kind of an NL Central that's pretty weak so far this year. Christopher Morel's been kind of hot this year so far. Suzuki's been heating up a little bit. Bellinger's kind of falling off a little bit, he's kind of falling off a little bit here, but I do think the Cubs can come back and kind of contend, in that top three of the NL Central, but they've they've gone down to number 4 here in the NL Central standings. At number 23, we got the Guardians. At number 24, the Chicago White Sox. They've pretty much stayed the same here. Some could say that the Detroit Tigers and ESPN's power rankings, they're ahead of them, but the White Sox were number 24. They've actually gone down another slot here in my in my rankings. This is the team that they're playing in a horrible. They're probably playing in one of the worst divisions in baseball, the AL Central. I don't think anybody wants to win that division right now. The Minnesota Twins are leading that division right now. So at 21-30, they're still in striking distance. They're only 4 or 5 games out of 500, out of the top place. They're 5.5 games back. For as poorly as the White Sox played, they are only 5 games back from being the number 1 team in the NL Central from first place. So this is a team, like I said, man, they got a lot of talent. They just have to kind of catch heat and catch fire here coming on, before, in the month of June coming up here. At number 25, we got the Tigers. Number 26, the Reds. And then rounding out the top 30, you got the Nationals, the Rockies, the Royals, and the Athletics, who are just on pace to just be one of the worst teams in MLB history so far this season, ladies and gentlemen. Going into our Prime Sports World MVP watch list. NL MVP. Let me tell you something, man, ladies and gentlemen. Ronald Acuna, I know he was out for a little bit. Ronald Acuna has, still remained one of the best, players in the National League. He was hurt for a little bit, but this kid's still batting .337, 11 home runs, 20 stolen bases, the 1.01 on base, 1,000 on base percentage. So he's got elite stats still. He's still the favorite to win the NL MVP this year, ladies and gentlemen. Number 2, I got Mookie Betts from the Dodgers. Then number 3, I got Mookie Betts. Let me talk about Mookie Betts a little bit. Mookie Betts has been killer. You could make an argument. You could put Pete Alonso here at number 2 because he's leading the NL, and he's leading he's leading the majors in RBIs and home runs, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look at here. Yeah, he leads the league with 18 home runs and 43 RBIs. So Pete Alonso, he had a strong April. He's fallen off a little bit here in May, but he's still, he's still in the top 3, top 5 here in the MVP rankings. And then Mookie Betts, like I said, man, he's in terms of the Los Angeles Dodgers being the best team, second best team in baseball. He's a big reason why his 872 on base percentage. He's been hitting the ball well. He's been playing great. He's been running the bases really well. He's been hitting the ball pretty well. So and he's been playing great defense for the Dodgers. So Mookie Betts definitely MVP candidate. And then my honorable mention is Juan Soto, who has been killer in the last month or so. Juan Soto has been a godsend here for the Padres. Man, he's uh, having some serious, some really good numbers here. 905 on base percentage. He's been hitting the ball really well. Let me look at what his stats are, because I was looking at Jordan Alvarez, who's been really good so far, especially in the month of May. Um, on Soto here, he's been hitting the ball really well in the last 3-4 weeks here. It's kind of propelled him into the MVP race as well. So look out for Ron Soto to kind of make a run here. I just kind of wanted to pull up his stats just so I could give you a rundown of what he's been doing the last four. Because I mean, he's batting 262, but the last few weeks he's been really well here. Pulling it up here. Juan Soto in the last 15 days. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, Juan Soto in the month of God Lee here. I'm trying to pull it up here. My computer's acting really slow here. Yeah, in the month of May, Juan Soto's batting 333. He's got 10 extra base hits, 24 hits. He's got 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, 17 base on balls. I mean, his play discipline has been excellent. His on base percentage has risen up, 461 on the on base percentage. Here, slugging percentage has risen to 639. All from the start of the season. I mean, he was batting 217, 390, and 413. So all of those stats have risen in the month of May for Juan Soto. So he's definitely risen right back into the MVP race here. In the NL side, on the AL side, Shohei Ohtani. I mean, he's been flat out amazing here coming on of late. It's, all season pretty much. Shohei has been an MVP candidate. When I look at my rankings from last time we did a show here, Shohei was just on the outside looking in. I know honorable mention I had Bo Bichetti, but Shohei was still right there. He's pitching. He's 5-1 on the season, 3.05 ERA. And then when it comes to his bat, Shohei has been really excellent with his bat in the month of May. I mean, he's batting 263, but overall in the season, I mean, he started off the season 292. This year, it's kind of cooled off a little bit so far, but he's still right there. And when it comes to his bat, I mean, he's still, he's got 5 home runs, 15 RBIs, striking out a little bit more this year. He had 20 strikeouts this in the month of May, as opposed, striking out a lot more this season. 24 in the month of April, 20 in the month of May. So he's kind of brought that down a little bit to 11 base on ball. So his play discipline has been a little wishy-washy so far. Only one plus one better than the month of April. But Shohei has been, I mean, in terms of a two-way player, I mean, Shohei has been excellent. He's number one in my MVP list, AL MVP list. Aaron Judge of the Yankees, he wasn't even in. This is a whole new lineup. I'm telling you guys, this is a whole new MVP ranking here for the AL side. When I look at Aaron Judge, I mean, in the month of May, I know in the month of April, he was batting 250, kind of, getting in the swing of things, 5 home runs, 12 ribbies. Like I said, slugging percentage is at 477, but he has been red hot in the month of May. 8 home runs, 19 RBIs, 15 base on balls. You already know he's gonna get a walk or two, every game, because nobody wants to pitch to him. His on base percentage 493, batting average 353, slugging percentage 882. OPS 1.375. I mean, this guy has really just caught fire in the month of May. So Aaron Judge looking to defend his MVP this season. And at number 3, Vlad Guerrero. He's been as consistent as they come this season. Like I said, I believe he's batting 298 so far this year. He's been really good, really consistent all season. 288. Started the season out 302. Kind of, fell off a little bit, not too much though. 288 in the month of May. But Vlad has been, 19 RBIs to 12 to start the season. So he's been really putting the ball in place. He's got 21 hits so far. 32 in the month of April, 21 so far in May. We're not done with May yet. But Vlad has been excellent so far for the Blue Jays. He's definitely risen in my MVP rankings. I'm telling you, it's a whole new list because last time I did a show, I had Matt Chapman, who's fallen off a little bit. Matt Chapman was batting like 343. He's fallen off tremendously. He's batting under 300 now. Wander Franco, and I had Randy Arozarena. Both of those guys have fallen off. And then Bo Bichetti, he's still kind of right there on the outside looking in terms of the MVP race. And then my honorable mention, I was talking about it, Yordan Alvarez. He's been really good. He's been hitting the ball really well of late. He's another guy just a hair under 300, batting 297. Yordan Alvarez is one of the reasons why Houston has been, coming back to life, even without Jose Altuve. In the month of May, he's batting 324. Start of the season, he was batting 267, 5 home runs to 23 RBIs. In the month of May, 6 home runs, 19 RBIs, 324 base percentage, 1.083 OPS. So yeah, Yordan Alvarez has been really good so far this season. So he's definitely right there on the outside looking in when it comes to the AL MVP race, ladies and gentlemen. But let me know, drop down in the comments. Let me know who you feel is going to win the MVP, who's the best team that you feel is in the league, who's going to be rising up into that top 10 of the power rankings. And let me know in the comments who you think is going to win the NL MVP and the AL MVP so far this year, and who are the front runners so far this year. Don't be shy. Go ahead and put down in the comment section. We don't discriminate or hate on you. We respect everybody's opinion here at Prime Sports World, ladies and gentlemen. But that's been a wrap here for Rounding the Bases, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast again here at Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And go ahead and follow me and David here on Twitter as well at David_PSW, Izzy_PSW as well. And in case you missed this live feed, you can catch us here on all streaming platforms where podcasts can be heard. That's Apple Podcasts, Samsung Podcast, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, ladies and gentlemen. And I dropped that link down in the comment section for you guys to go ahead and download the podcast and check out the RSS feed in case you missed this live feed from me today, ladies and gentlemen. As Prime Sports World keeps it locked in, bringing the heat, ladies and gentlemen, 24/7, 365 days out the year, ladies and gentlemen. So like I said, and as I always leave everybody off, man, in case I missed you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. And tomorrow, me and Christian will be bringing back College Football Showdown. So you guys don't want to miss that content as we'll be previewing our Heisman rankings, as we're previewing the first week of the schedule, first week of the season, kind of expectations for Colorado and Prime, Coach Prime, and just kind of going over some college football stuff for you guys. So you guys definitely don't want to miss that content, as Prime Sports World like I said, keeps you locked in, ladies and gentlemen, bringing the heat. But as I said, everybody have a great, happy, thirsty Thursday out there, and I will catch you later. Sayonara, suckers.